What's up, guys? Testing 1, 2. What's going on with you? So I figure I still have this Nano Plus with me, and why not do a little video about the Quickshot modes. So I played around with them a little bit the other day. I was questioning whether or not they were 1080 only or 4K, and I believe they are 4K output, which is good. So essentially, I believe what happens is whatever your resolution is set to, it will record that in Quickshot. So I spoke to Autel today too. I looked at the manual for the Nano Plus on their website. It didn't really say anything, and they apparently talked to their group chat at Autel and said that whatever you have your resolution set is what the Quickshot mode is going to record in. So we'll try to make this relatively short. I don't do well with short videos, it seems, but we'll try to get this guy up in the air and get some Quickshot modes of that windmill behind me, which is a good little feature. I'm gonna make sure a few things. When you're doing Quickshot modes, anything automated, always be aware of where you're at. Make sure you know where the power lines are, the trees are. Personally, unless you really are watching it closely, I would be clear of anything around me, for example. So I'm gonna maybe go 100 foot in the air, somewhere like that, to make sure if it's doing an orbit, for example, it's gonna go ahead and clear everything and I don't have to worry about anything happening in this automated mode. And I gotta see where the cancel button is, but you always wanna make sure you're aware of where to stop the Quickshot mode as well. So those are two things to really be conscious of and mindful of when you're doing any kind of automated flying. So with that being said, we got a Nano Plus in orange, full battery, don't have any filters for this guy yet, but we're gonna go ahead and power it on. One long press, set this guy down on the ground. Got iPhone 13 Pro Max, we'll record the screen and we will get up in the air and waste no time. Skyfire Aerial actually sent me a rig to test out. I don't have it on here currently, but I did fly with it last night and it worked out really well. I just left that at home because I only wanted to carry this one case and it wouldn't fit in this case with the rig on it. So for now, we are using the standard, but we do have this AGOZ cable, which really does help out. And let's kind of get going. So the Quickshot modes, of course, they're gonna be nice. You can add it for B-roll. Maybe you can't fly manually so well yet, but I would definitely try to avoid Quickshot modes and try to fly manually. Say, for example, an orbit, practice an orbit, find a big water tower somewhere with no power lines or anything around it, and just work on orbiting the thing left and right, keeping your crosshair in the middle, locked onto the object, and just try to make sure that that crosshair doesn't move and you do a nice orbit smoothly around your subject. And that's really the best way to get those cinematic shots, because you're gonna be able to incorporate those movements into a lot of different movements. So it's all gonna build on each other. So if you rely on automated stuff, guess what? You're not gonna really truly learn and know how to fly when someone says, hey, I need this shot. You're not gonna be able to just hit a button all the time. So just be mindful of that. I got an iPhone 13 Pro Max with me. We're gonna get into the Sky app. I'll record after I get into the Sky app, because I don't know about you guys, but when I screen record, a lot of times it messes up, which is weird.
We'll switch to flash card.
Oh, I don't have my SD card. God dang it. Okay, so if composition is a little different right now, it's because I did the wonderful little thing of forgetting a micro SD card. A lot of times when you go ahead and download your footage, you forget to take it out of the card reader, which is what I just did. So now I got my micro SD. I had to drive back home, and I also took a little case with extra little micro SD cards and put it in my glove compartment, which is a good little thing to do. Make sure you always have some SD cards in your car, because if you are in that situation, this thing does not have internal memory, for example. It really kind of stinks. So we got a fully charged battery. We're gonna talk about intelligent flight modes, as I was saying. We've got a really beautiful hawk cruising. So wanna be mindful of nature always. Winds are pretty minor today. I think they are, just so you know, I think they're 6-mile-an-hour winds with 13-mile-an-hour gusts. So really nice day to fly. Got some warmer weather. Actually, I'm not wearing my big poofball Michelin Man jacket, which is pretty awesome. I'm going to be heading to Hawaii probably in another 10 days, making my reservations tonight. So I will be Oahu for probably 2 weeks, hanging out, flying, taking a Mavic 3 with me and an Autel and some other stuff. So should be cool. I'll leave my Inspire 2 here because I don't think I want to. There are so many hawks. Can you see that? I got nature ADD. Cruising. So you want to be mindful always of nature. Gonna make sure it's still recording. Recording. I am recording. So I'm going to make sure my brightness is all the way up on my iPhone 13 Pro Max. We got this guy powered on. We got the controller powered on. I'm going to get into the Autel Sky App. And I believe it wants to do...
Self-checking. Please take off later.
I think it does want to do a firmware update. God dang it. And I'm going to calibrate. Just so you guys can see, I'm kind of by my car. I'll go over here a little bit, see if it works. And essentially what you do is hold the drone ideally away from a car, but since I'm doing this video right now, I'm going to see if I can get it to calibrate even this close. I'm going to rotate 360 degrees. I'm going to put the camera straight up and rotate again. Now, mind you, you don't physically have to rotate. You can actually just rotate the drone, but what fun is that? So we're going to go ahead and now rotate 360 again. Boom. Calibration successful. So that is good.
Initializing aircraft attitude. Please take off later.
So it says self-checking right now. And again, with the quick shots, it's going to record in whatever resolution you have it set to, I believe, in video. And for whatever reason, too, see how there's no grid lines right now? I always have them enabled, and for some reason, they always get canceled out every time I power on the drone. So that definitely is something Autel needs to acknowledge. So I'm going to go quickly over here into camera and hit these little grid icons and get those guys back up and running. And I believe I downloaded all this footage yesterday from Sunset. So what I'm going to do, and anytime you put in a new memory card, this is always a good thing to do as well. Go to the settings icon right to the left of that question mark in the upper right-hand corner, tap that, and then go into camera, and then go into format SD card. So boom, it's gonna format the SD card to the drone so it kind of communicates with each other, and that's always gonna be a good way to make sure everything's gonna kind of go as smoothly as possible. So we're gonna be done with that. We'll get the guy up in the air.
Home point has been refreshed.
There goes Nano. Now what I'm gonna do is physically watch where the drone is at. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it into ludicrous mode to cruise and kind of get to where I wanna be. I'm physically watching the drone, so I'm not overly concerned with obstacles. It's really a beautiful day out right now. And I'm gonna make sure I'm higher than the trees. So for example, can you see that tree right there? That kind of gnarly one? I'm gonna make sure I'm higher than that. And I'm gonna make sure I'm higher than, say, this tree. There's a tree right over to the right, kind of down here, that guy. I'm gonna make sure I'm higher than all of that stuff. So, whoop, doing a 360. There's planes flying pretty low today, actually. So, gonna be mindful of that, but I'm not gonna be anywhere near that height for them. And then I'm gonna switch it back into smooth mode, just so I have obstacle avoidance turned on. I'm gonna go a little bit higher, and I'm watching the drone visually, so I can see the little orange Nano Plus hanging out in the sky. And what I'm gonna do is go into the little photo area. We got video, so I can see my video resolution where that's set. Actually, that's gonna be right above the shutter button. We got it set to 4K, 24 frames a second. And now if I go into photo, portrait, quick shot mode. So quick shot mode, we have basically the subject, which is going to be the windmill. So I'm going to select the windmill, and we have different quick shot modes. We have, if I tap that again, we have flick, which essentially does this weird little, you can kind of see the visual, but we'll go ahead and do one. And I'll show you all of these either at the beginning of the video or at the end. Either way, I'll go ahead and name it flick so you guys can see. We got fadeaway, rocket, and orbit. So orbit, again, something you want to practice all of these ideally manually, but sometimes you can get a really nice shot, and it does shoot 4K, so that actually is nice to have that kind of resolution with these quick shot modes. So let's go ahead and begin. We're going to go ahead and select the windmill by physically making a little selection. I'm going to make a little marquee kind of box around the windmill. You see it selected, and now I'm going to get basically ready to see where my drone is. I can see where it is, and I'm going to hit go.
3, 2,
it's going to count down.
1, go.
And now this guy's going to do its thing. And you do want to watch your drone, because sometimes with an automated mode, it can kind of do stuff that maybe it shouldn't. So it's cruising around. And this is pretty cool. Like, I have to admit, that's not an easy shot to do on your own. And that should be it. Pretty soon that's done. And it will come back to its home point afterwards. It always makes me nervous, though, seeing these automated modes, especially when you have trees and stuff all around. So again, make sure you're definitely way clear of this.
Shooting completed. Aircraft is flying back to the starting point.
So now I can actually let it fly itself back, which is fine. Or I can X out of here and just fly it home myself if I wanted to. So you have that option to do so, to kind of let the automated mode do its thing. I don't even see it right now. Where are you? It's so small in the air. I'm going to X out of it. I know it's not going to hit it, but I'm going to go ahead and get into ludicrous mode, go a little higher so I can really see the drone. And now I can cruise back, and we'll go ahead and do the next quick shot mode. So I'm going to get a little higher altitude, point my gimbal down a teeny bit, and now we're going to get out of ludicrous mode, put it in smooth, and I'm going to tap quick shot one more time and go to fadeaway. So now fadeaway, I'm going to go ahead and draw a marquee box like that, the little bounding box around the windmill, the subject, whatever it may be you're shooting, and I'm going to hit
3,
go.
2, 1.
And keep an eye on the drone as well, so I can see the guy cruising, totally safe, which is good. I can't move the wheel or do anything, because if I do, it won't do anything. I'm trying to move the camera gimbal right now, and it's not allowing me to do anything. It's in its automated mode, so you cannot fly it while it's doing its thing.
Shooting completed. Aircraft is flying back to the starting point.
So that's kind of boring, that one. I don't know. Let me see. We can kind of get an idea visually. If we go below the shutter button, we can go in and see what that did, and you could see that little mark right there. And that's that. If I hit the little icon next to the scissors, I think it will download and kind of do its little magic to it. So let me see. Processing. And there we go. Kind of neat. I mean, pretty boring actually, but whatever. This one will be a little bit nicer. So if we go ahead and hit again to the left of the scissors, this will actually download it, and then it will kind of process it out a little bit and work its little magic. So let's see what this one does. Boom, processing it out. That one's a little bit more impressive. not bad. So that one's not too bad, but let's go ahead and carry on. So let's go to rocket. So I'm gonna fly this thing over the windmill, get a little bit more into ludicrous mode, cruise on over. Okay, so I'm gonna go lower, point my gimbal up. I don't know what it does, if it automatically kind of controls the gimbal. So I'm gonna get out of ludicrous mode one more time, go into smooth mode. I'm gonna draw a little box around the windmill as so. We're in rocket mode. And I can change, oh, I didn't really touch on that. I can change above the go button. There's this, so I can choose how high I wanna go. So let's go big, man. Let's go 393 feet and see what happens.
3, 2, 1.
So here we go. Where are you? There you go. And we're gonna cruise up. We're only 165, 70. We're gonna go way up there. So legally we can fly to 394. $267, $280. Still looking at the skies. No low flying planes. Boom. We're going to be almost done. Why is it still going at 400 feet? Okay, so that's not good. I don't know why it's still going that high, but I'm going to stop that. Wow, it's just cruising. So that's really odd. I don't know what that's about, but we're not supposed to be that high, and I thought it would stop and it didn't. So what's with that? I'm not sure. That was pretty interesting. I mean, I did not have it set to anything higher. I had it set to 393 feet. So we're gonna bring this guy down safely and regroup and try one more time. That's pretty bizarre. It just kept on going. So I'll tell you, definitely got to make sure that doesn't happen. Where are you, little guy? 161 feet. Okay, so let's try a more conservative. Let's do 278 feet. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and drag a box around this guy. We got it set to rocket, and now in theory,
3, 2, 1.
we should just hit go, right? I mean, I don't know what I did differently with that. I'm watching the little guy take off, and it should stop not that far up. We're definitely not going to let it go above 400 feet. And it's just constantly climbing. So that's a definite issue. I'm going to stop it again. Okay, I'm going to hit the stop button. And that's going to stop the automated mode as well. So that's not just stopping recording, so you guys are aware. That's actually stopping the automated mode, the Quickshot mode. So I have no idea why that's doing that. That's really bizarre that rocket apparently is messing up like that. I'm going to go back into ludicrous mode and cruise down. And maybe try one more time. It's kind of a cool shot, isn't it? Let me go ahead and take a quick picture because I can. Oh, do not want that. I'm going to manually expose really quickly. The color is way off. There should be a histogram, but there isn't. And anyway, let's go ahead and get back to Quickshot mode and see if we can replicate that issue again with rocket. So let's go down here a little lower. I'm going to click out of rockets. I don't know if there's something going on. I'm going to go to, let's do 295 feet this time. And then I'm going to draw a box around this guy and hit go.
3, 2, 1.
And see what happens.
Go.
So it shouldn't go above 320 feet, for example. 175, 200. So there may be something going on with the quick shot mode, not knowing how to stop the height. Yeah, it just wants to keep on climbing. So definitely not a good thing, because people who aren't paying attention may just be waiting. And let's just see if it breaks the 400 mark. Yep, it's not stopping, so I'm going to come back down and not do that. So we're going to avoid rocket for the moment, and I would suggest everyone else to avoid rocket, because, again, let me see over here if it does anything. I don't know if it actually is still going to stitch anything together, since it didn't really complete the task. Maybe you can still get by using it, but you just got to make sure you're mindful. So it still is able to be processed out, and it will still work, but you don't want to be going 400 feet up or past 400 feet. So we're going to go to orbit now. Let's cruise down a little bit. And let's get a nice area to orbit this guy. I got to try to find out where he is. There you are. And I'm going to make sure that I'm clear of all the trees. Let's go ahead and get a little better composition. Raise the gimbal up. Where are you? These little drones are just tough to see. Thank God I got orange, but still, even orange is very challenging. Where did you go, little nano? So I'm definitely higher than any object right now, for example. So this is a good little zone. Maybe I want to even just stay like, do I want the horizon in? Regardless, I'm going to go ahead and select it. And now let's see what happens. We have no options for it other than hitting the arrow below the windmill, for example, that little yellow arrow. We can go counterclockwise or we can go clockwise. For now, I'll go clockwise. Whoop, come on. Select this guy. I'm going to X out of there and make a better selection. And now I'm going to hit go.
3, 2, 1, go.
And now we want to be mindful too if it wants to go over traffic. So we have a road here, right? Thankfully, there's not a lot of traffic on it. So far, there's no traffic. I can see the road too. So I'm going to let it do its thing for the moment. And it looks like it's kind of doing an all right job. I can't move the gimbal up or anything. There's no cars coming on this side, so I'm good. There we go, across the road safely. I can see down the stretch of the road where I'm at. So now, for example, it's going to want to cross the road, and I'm going to stop it, because I don't want to cross the road with traffic. So if you do have to forcefully stop the quick shot mode, just know that the shutter button will actually stop it, and you can kind of cancel out and do your thing. So let me get back on the other side. Do. Okay, I'm back
The
safely.
aircraft battery is low. Please return to home.
So I'm not going to cancel out of the return to home.
Returning to home.
No, I don't want you to return to home. So it's wanting me to basically return to home, but I want to just touch on this a little bit so you guys kind of see We did realize flick kind of worked, fadeaway kind of worked. Rocket was definitely taking us way too high and not stopping in the altitude, no matter what setting we were at. So don't use rocket and break 400 feet and know your airspace for that guy. So Autel definitely needs to look into that one. Orbit, you got to also be mindful of if you're orbiting a road or something, for example. And that's it. I'm going to get the guy home. Hopefully this gives you a little introduction in the Quickshot modes. I'll put some of the examples in the beginning and the end of the video. And until next time, play around. And this is how you learn, playing and flying your drone. It's the only way you're going to kind of know what your drone can do, the limitation of new firmware, for example. So go ahead and fly, be safe, and have a good one, guys. Aloha. Hit the subscribe button and thumbs up button, and bye.